Thank you again so much for being with us. We want to talk about real estate. I want to talk about real estate in this section. Real estate, real estate, real estate. Now, why do we want to talk about real estate? Well, because it's a great way to create wealth. Step number one is to make more money. You do that with your job and your side hustles. Now, all the real estate that we've done, all the profits went right down into step number four, which is the investment account, the wealth formula. Put money in it every week, every month. Have that money go up in value times time. Rule of 72. How long does it take to double your money? The more times you can double your money, the wealthier you will be. Warren Buffett has made a lot more money after he turned 60. He's made a massive amount more than before he turned 60 because he had the ability to double his money multiple more times. That's why it's so important to get you started at an early age. Now, some of you are saying, well, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I'm cooked. Well, you're not cooked, you're not dead, you're still here. But your job is to help other people get where they need to go. So that's why this is so important. So let's talk about real estate for a second. Now, we have some wonderful tools to help you through real estate. And the majority of the money that we put into the foundation came from real estate. And, when I was a kid, I was helping my dad. I was a teenager. I was helping my dad scrape the old paint off the house that was next door to us. And he'd bought that house, and they were renting it out. And we were scraping the old paint off, and then we were going to repaint it. And it wasn't fun. I wasn't having any fun. I was hot. And my dad, see, I wasn't having a lot of fun. I said, Dad, can I get paid for doing this? And he goes, No, son, get back to work. I'm one of 10 kids. I'm sure he had his hands full. And a little later, I says, Dad, you sure I can't get paid for this? And he goes, Son, we bought this house so that it would create extra revenue and some assets so we could put your kids through college. Now, as an early teenager, I didn't care about college that much. Then he could say that wasn't the correct answer. And then he said something else to me. He says, Tom, some people make so much money off their real estate, their investments, and their small businesses that they don't have a job. All they do is manage those things. All they do is manage their orchard and multiple orchards. If I wanted to talk to my dad, usually I had to go out in the garden when he was working and talk to him out there. He was always working and doing stuff, and he taught us by example. So that's the key for what we're trying to teach you. Now let's talk about real estate for a second. All of you own or need to own some real estate. The reason for real estate is because it's a great inflation hedge. The governments of the world can't balance their budget. They just can't. They're spending more money than they're bringing in. So what do? They print more money. When they print more money and they borrow money from other people, when they do that, then everything else gets more expensive. So step number 5, which is to save and spend, it's more expensive to live. And you've noticed that. You go back 10 years ago, you go back 20 years ago. When I was a kid mowing lawns, gas cost 25 cents a gallon. Well, now it's 10, 12, 15 times that amount. Why? Because the governments can't balance their budget, so they print more money. So if you have assets, they go up in value. They keep up with inflation, and they called appreciation because we appreciate it. Just think how much real estate was 10 years ago. Think about what it was 20 years ago. The new normal is that it's more expensive now. And guess what? 10 years from now, it's going to be even more. 20 years from now, it's going to be even more. When all the governments of the world balance their budgets and stop borrowing so dang much money, then we'll have a different strategy. But that's the strategy right now. So we have to invest in things that go up in value. Businesses go up in value. And income producing businesses that we invest in, we don't but pick and choose the stock market. Some of you might do a little bit of that for fun. And we don't really hire people to do it. We just invest in the 500 biggest companies because they make money. The Warren Buffett companies is a stock. The reason we like it is because there's no management fees to it. It's a stock and it makes money because the businesses they own make money. So that's what we're trying to do. And as inflation happens, it will be positive for those businesses. Now you're on a roller coaster. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, and it's going to go down. But over time, it's going to go up because of inflation. So we've got to get investing in things that go up in value. Now, one of those things is real estate. Now, there's 2 things with your real estate. All of you need to have a place to live. Now, many of you are renting, and some of you have real estate that you're renting out, and some of you are finding little properties and fixing them up and flipping them. So there's 5 F's. I want you to write these down. 5 F's of things that you've got to remember. Now, it's no different for real estate as it is for selling a product or doing a business or anything else, but there's 5 things. Number one is you need to find a good deal. You need to find a good deal. So I'll tell you what the 5 are, and then we'll go into detail on them. You need to find a good deal. Number two is you need to fund it. You need to be able to control it. Doesn't mean you got to buy it. Doesn't mean you got to come up with all the money, but you have to have a way to be able to control it. Number three, you got to fix what's wrong. There's something wrong. Hopefully we can find something that's wrong. We're looking for problems. We're problem solvers. We're looking for problems. So we want to find something that's wrong. So we need to fix it. Number four, we're either going to farm it, which means we're going to get a money tree that produces fruit every year, every month, every week, or we're going to flip it. We're going to flip it to somebody else. We're going to take that cash and we're going to reinvest it. Okay. The 5 F's, you need to find a good deal. Find it. Number two, you need to fund it. You need to control it. You need to have the rights to do something with it. Number three, we need to fix what's wrong. Got to fix what's wrong. Number four, we need to you got 2 choices. You're either going to farm it, where you're going to make money over time, or we need to flip it and get some extra cash and then take that cash and reinvest it. So let's talk about the 5 F's in great detail. So finding good deals. Now, I work with, when I turned 60, I decided to sell off most of my real estate and put it into private equity and do it with partners. And so I'm doing this with partners now that I've loved working with for many years. And instead of the smaller deals, they're doing big, big deals. And I'm just one of the partners in it because I didn't want to spend my time and energy doing that. I wanted to spend my time and energy in the foundation. And I knew that I could only chase one rabbit really well. So we put it on autopilot. But I'm still investing in real estate in a major, major way. But you got to find good deals. And it doesn't matter if they're looking at a $100 million deal, a $1 million deal, or a $10,000 deal. The vast majority of them out there don't fit our criteria. Just know that right from the get-go. 97% don't fit what we're looking for. We're trying to make a profit. We're trying to make a profit today. Now, if we keep it long term, that's even better. But you make your profit the day you buy. You cash the check the day you sell. You make your profit the day you buy. So only 3% of all the properties out there fit our criteria. We're looking for that 3%. We're looking for that anomaly. So when you understand that, then the rules change dramatically. Hey, this doesn't fit the 3%. This doesn't fit this, this is part of the 97%. So just be aware of that. We're looking for great deals. And these guys that are doing $100 million deals, same thing. They're looking for the great deal. Number two, you need to control it. You need to fund it. Now, some of you can write a check and buy whatever you're buying. If it's inventory for your business or if it's a piece of real estate or whatever, you can write a check. I've written checks for real estate, but I didn't start that way. Your goal is to control it. Your goal is to control your real estate. Now, simple question. Marriott hotels, they're all over the world. Who owns Marriott hotels? Who owns the buildings? It's not Marriott. Marriott is in the renting business. Marriott rents from the guys that own the building on a monthly basis, and they turn around and re-rent the rooms out on a nightly basis. Marriott doesn't have a lot of real estate. They don't own a lot of real estate. They own a business that is in the service business. Insurance companies own most of that real estate. Okay. Walmart doesn't own most of their buildings. They know that they'd rather take their cash and put it into inventory and in systems because they make more money because that's the business they're in. Amazon, you buy Amazon or products online. They don't own that material. They just sell it, okay, and make money off of it and ship it out for people. Uber doesn't own any cars. All they do is own this system that people use. So if you're going to buy a house or a property, we want to be able to take that on consignment. That's one of the ways that we do that. Now, there's wonderful classes I want you to go into. When you go into courses, then pull it down to, I think it's number 6, all the courses. Scroll down to the real estate section. I want you to go through the Road to Wealth, which is a true story about how Robert Allen and myself took 3 people out of an unemployment line in St. Louis, Missouri, and how we taught them and what we taught them and the simple strategies we use. Now, again, we have people all over the world, so don't get hung up on the prices. Get hung up on what I want you to do is understand the percentages. What's the percentage between what you bought it for and what you could sell it for? The percentages is the key. Okay. So there's all kinds of wonderful classes there, but you need to control it, and you can control it with an option. You have the option to buy at a later date for a specific price, or consignment. You just need to control it. I did a lot of properties where I found an ugly property that just needed a paint job. The grass needed to be cleaned up, watered. The people had left, and all I did was come in and take over their payments. But I got a right to be able to close on it in 90 days. I'm going to legally own this in 90 days. I have the right to do that. And I'm not going to make payments on it. I'm going to buy it and own it in 90 days. And then I would go in, clean it up, and I'd put it back for sale right there immediately. As I was fixing it up, I'd have it for sale. And I had a whole list of people that wanted to buy my properties. And so when I got one ready to go, I'd reach out to my list of people who wanted to buy, and they would come in and say, this is great. And they would buy it off me. So many times I never even actually physically owned it. I just flipped my contract. So you can flip the real estate and you can flip your contract. Now, number 3 is you got to fix it. You got to fix the problem. Now, the problem could be either two things. It could be with the owners. We like problems with the owners because the property's probably in great shape. Now, you might have an owner that's retiring. You might have an owner that is getting a divorce, or they're downsizing or something else, and they can be flexible. That puts them into that 3% group. So it's either the owners are got a problem or the property has a problem. And can you fix the problem? Many times it's very fixable. A lot of times the owners don't know what anything's really worth. And they don't know that if they spend another X number of dollars and put a new paint job on the outside of the house and cleaned up the inside, and and changed out the carpet maybe, and changed those ugly walls to something neutral and fix the yard, that you can make a property worth $20,000 more than it was beforehand. So that's one of the keys. You got to fix the problem. Now, how do you make your profit? There's 2 ways to make a profit. You're either going to farm it. So you're going to have all kinds of rental real estate. And I had as part of my portfolio, I had 80 units. I had 80 units, and each of those units made us money every month. Now, the beautiful thing about that was I had one property we had for 40 years, and we bought it. And again, just add zeros, multiply it, divide it, whatever it is, wherever you live in the world. But we bought it for $60,000 in 1983. And 5-6 years ago, we donated it to the foundation for $500,000. So it went up 9 times over that long period of time. But over that period of time, the renters made the payments to me. They made payments, and then I paid the mortgage on it. So who really paid that property out for me? It was the renters. The renters paid me rent every month. I took that rent and I paid the mortgage. I did the utilities. I paid the taxes. And over time, they paid that property off for me. Yes, I paid a lot of money in interest, but they paid me. So really, that was terrific. So the property got paid for over time, and the property went up in value. Rule of 72 says most properties over a period of time will double in value every 12 to 24 years. 24 years is probably the longest, probably 12 years. That means, you just go back and look what real estate was 12 years ago, and you can see how that's done. And so the property is going to go up in value. So we did that, and then we donated that to the foundation. We ended up putting that into the foundation, and that's one of the ways we did it. The other way we did it was with some more units. I bought a whole bunch of them. I bought them for $250,000. I bought them with nothing down. The seller wanted to get out, and there's 28 units that we bought in one transaction we did. We told them we'd close in 60 days, and the first thing we did is we gave 18 of the 28 people get out, because you're a terrible renter and you're trashing the place, and we don't want you here. And so we actually kicked out a whole bunch of them before we actually owned the property. And then we fixed it up and we re-rented it. We got the rents up, and they made the payments on it. And they made those payments, for 27 years. And over 27 years, the properties got paid off by the renters. The renters paid me money that paid those off. So who's the schmo making the payments? The renters did. So the loans went from 250,000 down to 0 over that 27 years. Now the value of those properties doubled. This was a slow time where I was at, and they doubled over that time frame. So they went from 250,000 to 500,000. So the value is 500,000 and change. but the loans all got paid off. So I made $500,000 on each one of those properties. Now that's pretty impressive. Now the best part about it was we had 20 of them. So we made $10 million doing that one thing. So when we were able to donate $3 million to the foundation, it was because a lot of that was because of our real estate and our Berkshire Hathaway stock. Okay. So that's how we did it. People are saying, well, how did you put the money in there? Well, I'll tell you the other secret is that, we used up all the tax benefits over that 27 years, and we're going to have to pay taxes on it when we sold them. And we sold them so we could roll it into some other investments, some other real estate that we wanted to get into. And we had the chance of doing that. And basically, it was like you can pay $2 million to the government in taxes, or you could give $3 million away. Well, I wanted to give the money away anyway. So by giving the money away and into the foundation, we got a tax write-off. And we now have the money in the foundation to be able to give away and make a huge difference. So that is the farm it side. Now the flip it side. Let's talk about flipping it. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a product, it can be a book, it can be a service, whatever it is. Can you find a way to be able to flip it to someone else? So you need to tie it up so you can control it with an option or something else, and then you need to be able to flip it. And when you flip it, take that cash and reinvest it. You got to take that cash and reinvest it. So your goal is, many of you keep your job, make enough money with your job to live, and get your money invested from your job in your retirement accounts and other things. Do as much as you can. Number two is you need the side hustle. And as you do that side hustle and you start flipping properties, then that's a huge win for you. Take that money, take that extra cash, leave it in step number 4, leave it in a separate account. I don't mix our family money, which is in step 5, the save and spend. I don't mix that with our business money. They're 2 separate accounts because I want to understand how they're doing. And we don't commingle them. They're separate accounts. They're separate bank accounts. That lets me know how well I'm doing. And so that's how we do that one. So you're going to flip stuff. And as you flip stuff, you're going to turn around and reinvest it as much as you can. So that's kind of the 5 F's that you need to do. The other thing is, all of you, if you own real estate, now all the real estate that I own, we use the same 3 techniques to be able to pay it off faster. There's 3 things that you can do. Number 1 is you need to find a way to buy it for less money. Now, if there's 100 properties out there for sale, only 3 of them fit our criteria. Only 3 do. So if we sift it through 100, and again, the way we did is we had people calling us. We'd call on a lot of properties to find out what they was, but I found that if I ran my own ads, people would call me. And then I didn't have to spend as much time, and they were motivated, and if it fit our criteria, we'd do it. So only 3 of those fit. So your goal is to get that 3% and then, turn around and be able to flip those. So that's kind of the key of what you need to do. Now, there's 3 ways that you can pay your real estate off faster. Number 1 is to buy it for less money. Buy it for less money. And in my 5 steps book, I go through this in great detail. Simply go to the foundation's website, go to courses, go down to downloads, down to the free downloads. And my books are all right there. You can print the books. You can buy them off Amazon cheaper than you can probably print them. But you can read them all online if you'd like. There's whole sections on real estate. But the first thing is you got to find it for less money. So if you're paying really good attention and you understand value, and until you understand value, everything else is worthless. You got to understand what things are worth. And you do that by looking at a lot of property and comparing them and keeping track of it. So in the courses section, in the downloads, there's a thing called a bargain finder that helps you keep track of all the real estate. So if you're doing real estate, you're going to fill out one of those forms on every piece of real estate that you own. So one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to find it for less money. Number 2 is, with good credit, if you pay your bills on time, you can borrow money at less interest rate. Interest rate is probably the biggest killer. It's not so much the price, it's the interest rate. And if you can do something with a small interest rate, a lower interest rate, that will save you bundles and bundles and bundles of money. So the second thing is, whenever you can refinance at a lower interest rate, that's huge. The interest rate's more important than the price in many cases. Number 3, loans are set up in most countries on a 30-year loan. The reason they do that is the bank wants the interest. They make a buttload of money on interest, especially over the first 12 years. It's pretty much all interest. You can save a massive amount of money if you pay your loan off in 15 years or in 20 years versus 30. Now, the mistake people make is that the average person stays in a home for about 7 years, some longer, some shorter, but on average about 7 years. So when they move, they go get a brand new loan and they put it on a 30-year loan and they keep paying interest. And all they're doing is paying interest. So if you want to save a boatload of money on your rental properties as well as your own home, pay it off quicker. And it's not that much more money to be able to add that. See, in the payment, the first month payment, you're paying massive amount of interest and a little bit towards paying it off. And over time, that ratio starts to change. But if you simply add and do this over a 15-year term or a 20-year term, you're going to save boatloads, a massive amount. And that's how we got our real estate paid for quicker, because as rents went up, we took that extra money and we paid the loans off faster because we wanted to have some free and clear real estate. So that's the three ways that you can save money on your own home or on your rental properties. Now, all of you need those things. Now, when you go to courses, I want you to go to courses, then go down to number 6, which is the all courses. Go down to the real estate section. And in real estate section, there's a couple of wonderful classes. They're there. The one book that I really want you to read is Mark Harrelson's book, How to Wake Up the Financial Genius Inside You. When I was attending college, he owned the apartment complex where I lived. And he was an author and he brought up a case of books and he left them in the office. And I went in the office for some reason and there was a case of books and the guy was giving them away. Now he was over there playing ping pong with some of the students, and like an idiot, I didn't go talk to him, but I took his book and I read his book. Now my dad taught me about real estate, which was wonderful. But this was a book on basically a structure and a system. How do you do it systematically? And that opened my eyes. That was wonderful. And so I started interviewing my professors in my business classes that owned real estate, because that's one of the ways that they really made a lot of their money. The other one is The Road to Wealth. True story about how Robert Allen and I took 3 people out of an unemployment line in St. Louis, Missouri, and taught them how to go out and make money. And they used real estate as that example. And it's a true story. It's a wonderful story, and it's a very inspirational story. And then Robert Allen's real estate launch is a wonderful product that's there. And we have all kinds of other classes on that as well. So that's where I would tell you to get started. So kind of concluding, you're going to do the 5 F's. And I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if you're flipping cars. I don't care if you're whatever you're doing. The reason I liked real estate so much is that I could put a small amount into fixing up a property and it had a huge impact on the value. For example, I could go put, $3,000 into cleaning up a house, and it would make a $10,000 or $15,000 difference in the value. Or I could put $3,000 in a car and it would make a $1,000 difference in the value. So that's kind of the key of why I love real estate, and everybody needs it, and it's everywhere. So your goal is eventually to get into your own home. Now, remember, who's making the payment? So I have many of my friends don't own their own home that they live in. They rent, because they can rent a massively better house for a much smaller payment, but they take that extra money and they put it into rentals and they rent out a lot of properties as well. So that's kind of a key for you. But there's nothing wrong with owning a piece of real estate, and there's nothing wrong with paying it off early and having that free and clear property. Getting out of debt. I have no problem with getting out of debt. There's consumer debt and then there's business debt. And if you have business debt, like on my real estate, the renters paid it off for me. They were making the payments. So they were really making the payments and I was just the middleman. But if you have a lot of consumer debt for toys and cars and crap that don't make you money, then don't do it. Every time you're spending money, you got to say to yourself, is this making me more money or is this costing me more money? And if you can figure out how to get your money working for you, that's going to make a huge difference over time. Rule of 72 says, you take that investment, you take the interest rate or the appreciation, and you take time into number 72. So if you take 72 and you have a 3% interest rate or a 3% appreciation, 3 times 24 equals 72. So it takes 24 years. If your investments are going up 6% a year, 6 times 12 equals 72. So it takes 12 years. Okay, so that's really the key. And really rich people that I get to hang out with. I've been in lots of rooms where there was, gosh, I don't know how many billions of dollars of net worth in that room. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. I just get to go hang out with them. The reason the rich are getting richer is because they're doing the things mathematically. It's mathematically they're making money and they're getting that money into step number 4 and they're automatically investing it and they're making it grow. And as they make money from their small businesses, they take that money and they put it down into their investments and they make it grow until you come to the day where you don't need a job because you have so much money coming in from your real estate, your investments, and your small businesses that all you do is manage that stuff. And then you do that. Now, in closing, the 5 steps: make more money, separate it. Number 3, you got to give some away. The individuals, churches, and charities, you got to give some away. It's a business law, but it's also a spiritual law. Number 4, automatically invest. The wealth formula: monthly investments times having them go up in value times having them over time. That equals wealth. That's why we put our savings account over in step number 5, because you can save for your rainy day, but it's not making you money. And then you've got your family operating account to pay your bills. The key is to get as much into your long-term investment account. And people say, well, I got to wait 3 to 6 months to get my emergency account ready. You don't. If you have a month or two, but you have the extra money over into an investment account, if the air conditioner goes out and you got to go fix the air conditioner, sell the stock and go fix your air conditioner. Okay. So you don't really be spending a whole bunch of time putting money into your savings account. Let's get it invested. That's kind of the key. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Sorry it went on so long. We want to say goodbye to our friends from all around the world. We're going to come back. We're going to give away a bunch of stock. I can see Daryl's right there going, I love doing that part because that's part of his expertise, is helping me distribute the stock and this money all over the world. But I want to thank you for making a difference, making it happen. Remember that every life is precious. Every soul has equal value. Every person that you see is going through the same things that you are. We're all spiritual children having an earthly experience, and sometimes that earthly experience can get bumpy. And thank you so much for thinking about my daughter and sending out the good vibes and prayers to help my daughter. My wife and I so appreciate that. We have 2 special needs kids, and we need all the help we can get. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. And we are going to start doing some of our next classes. So, Daryl, one question: do you want to do your introductory class this Friday or next Friday?
Well, um, I am down if we're going to do it this Friday, but I think it would be more prepared if we're going to do it on the next
Yeah,
Friday.
I don't like getting prepared. I just like getting it done. So you got 24 hours to figure it out, and I will help you with it. So here's, guys, tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. in Utah. We're going to test this out, which will be 9 p.m. same time, same Zoom station. We're going to kick this off. Daryl, we got 24 hours to figure it out.
Go.
You can invite your family and friends. It's going to be called 5 steps to a better life. 5 steps for you and your family to have a better life, because that's what you voted for. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're going to be